Let's answer these two exercises together to see how can we write affirmative verb to be and negative verb to be. Let's see here. Number 1, write the short form of she is or we aren't. She's or we aren't. So, she is. How can I write the short form? I will delete letter I and I will put comma instead. Number 2, they are. It will be there. So, I will make it one word. I will delete letter A and I will put comma instead, and then I will put RE. It isn't. So I will write what I will make is not one word. So I will write here it, and isn't will be one word. I will delete letter O and put comma instead. That is. So I will write that, and then I will delete letter I and I will put comma instead, and I will put S. And here number 5, I am not. So I will delete letter A and then I will put comma instead. I am not. You are not. It will be you aren't. So it will be, these two words will be one word. So they will be are, and I will delete letter O and put comma instead, and then I will write letter T. These are the short forms of this long one. So I will write here the short form of each long form in this exercise. Number 2, write am or is or are. Let's see how can we choose the correct verb. Number 1, the weather is. Why I choose is? Because the weather is it. So I will say it is. Very good. Number 2, I am not rich. I am. Why? Because here I with am. Number 3, this bag means it. So it will be this bag is. Why? Because it takes is. So here I have he or she or it. They all take is. So if I see this bag, it means it. So it is heavy. Number 4, these bags. What do we mean by these bags? It means they. So they takes what? They takes are. So I will say they are heavy. These bags are heavy. Number 5, look, there what? Helen. Helen is she. So there is Helen. Why? Because she takes is. My brother and I. They mean we. So what do we mean by my brother and I? They are we. So my brother and I means we. So we takes are. We are good tennis players. Emily is she. So she is. She is at home. Her children, they. So they are. I a taxi driver. So I takes what? Takes am. So I am a taxi driver. My sister is she. So she takes what? She takes is. So she is a nurse. And now, my dear students, let's answer another exercise which is very nice. We will put not. It means we will use the negative form. We will use not. So Let's see here number 1. How can we answer number 1? It hot today. So I will write through sentences, positive or negative. Use is or isn't, or are or aren't. Let's see together. I prefer to use not. Why? To get accustomed to use the negative form. Okay, to practice using the negative form of verb to be. So let's see number 1. It not today. It means it is not hot today. It is not hot today. It windy today. So it means it is windy today. If I want to change this sentence into negative, so I will write it isn't windy today. So here I have it is windy today, or it isn't windy today. If I use it in positive form, I will write it is. If I use it in negative form, I will put not, or I will use negative form. How? By putting not after is. It will be it isn't windy today. Number 3, my hands cold. So here I will say my hands aren't cold. My hands aren't cold. So here I use what? I use negative form. My hands aren't cold. Are not cold. Aren't cold. Number 4, Brazil, a very big country. Brazil, a very big country. So I want to say it is not a very big country. I want to use it in negative form. So how can I write a sentence with negative form? Let's see together. I will write here, Brazil isn't a very big country. Brazil isn't. Brazil it. So I will use is. And when I want to use is with negative, so I will put not. So I will write Brazil is not. I can write is not and I can write isn't. Both have the same meaning. Isn't or is not long form and isn't short form or contractions. So here I can say Brazil isn't a very big country. Number 5, diamonds cheap. I want to say that diamonds are not cheap. So here I will say diamonds aren't cheap. Diamonds aren't cheap. Are not. Very good. Number 6, Toronto in the US. Is Toronto in US or it is in Canada? Toronto is in Canada, so it is not in the US. So I will use Toronto in the negative sentence. How can I use negative sentence? I will use it by putting not in the sentence. So I will write Toronto isn't in the US. Toronto isn't in the US. Why? Because here I have is not. I can write here is not, or I can write isn't. Both have the same meaning. This is long form and this is short form. So here I can write Toronto isn't in the US. So let's read the negative sentences again. It is not hot today. It is not windy today. My hands aren't cold. Brazil is not a very big country, or Brazil isn't a very big country. Diamonds aren't cheap, or diamonds are not cheap. Toronto isn't in the US or Toronto is not in the US. So here, you know that when I want to change the sentence into negative, I will use not after verb to be. Am or is or are, I will use not after them. And now, my dear students, let's answer exercise concerning how to use verb to be in questions. As I told you before, that I have to say if here I have he is, so I will say is he. This is in the question. So I am, it will be am I in question. He is he? She is she? It is it? We are we? You are you? They are they? So here, if I want to change the sentence of verb to be into questions, I will exchange the subject and the verb. As I told you before, if it is she is a doctor and I want to ask a question, so I will say, is she a doctor? So here, this is the question and this is the sentence. She is a doctor. Is she a doctor? So when I use questions, I will begin my sentence, or I will begin my question with verb to be, am or is or are. It will be the first word in the question. So let's answer here these questions together. Make questions with these words. I have here is at home your mother. So I want to ask if your mother is at home or not. So I will say, is your mother at home? Is your mother at home? So the first thing I should write is verb to be. So here I should write verb to be at the beginning of the question because it is the question, so I should begin with is. Okay? Here I will begin with is or are or am. So I will begin with any of these verbs. They are verb to be. So here I will begin my question with is or are or am. So here I will see number one, it will be, is your mother at home? Number two, your parents are well. I'm asking you if your parents are well or not. So I will say are. I can't say your parents are well. Why? Because this is a question. And when it is a question, so I should begin my question with verb to be, am or is or are. So here, are your parents well? Okay, now my dear students, let's answer the exercise here. Let's make it bigger. Okay, so here let's answer number 3. We will make it into question. We will change it into questions. So, interesting is your job. I'm asking you about your job, if it is interesting or not. So, how can you write the question? Yes, I can hear you. Very good. Is your job interesting? Is your job Interesting? Very good, excellent, my dear students. Why? I should begin my question with what? With is. I should begin my question with is, the verb. Number 4, the shops are open today. I want to ask you if the shops are open or not. So I will begin my question with the verb are. Excellent. So it will be, are the shops open today? Are the shops open today? So here I begin my question with the verb are. I cannot say the shops are open today. Why? Because this is the sentence. And now I am asking you if the shops are open or not. So I should begin my question with verb to be, are. Are the shops open today? Number 6, interested in sport? You are. I want to ask you if you are interested in sports or not. So I will ask you, are you interested? Are you interested? Why are? Because you takes are. So here I will say, are you interested at sports? Are you interested in sports? Sorry, here in sports. So here it will be, are you interested in sports? Are you interested in sports? So here I have to begin my question with verb to be, are. Okay, this is number 6. And number 7 is near. Here, the station. So I want to ask you about the station, if it is near here or not. So I will ask you, is the station near here? Again, is the station near here? Is the station near here? Why? Because here I should begin my question with the verb. So I should say is. I cannot say the station is near here. Why? Because this is a sentence, but I am asking you a question. When I am asking you a question, I should put verb to be at the beginning of the question. Number 8, I have here, at school are your children. So try to think and write the answer. I'm waiting for you. At school are your children. I will begin my question with, very good. I can hear you, my dear students. I should begin my question with are. Very good. So here I will say are. Very good. This is number 1. Are. Are what? The subject. Your children. Very good. Are your children at school? Excellent, my dear students. So when I want to ask you a question, so I will put verb to be at the beginning of the question. I should ask with is or am or are. Inshallah, we will learn how to choose the question words next time, inshallah. See you next time. Study your lessons very well. Thank you and goodbye.